First contact, the vast expanse of space had always called to Dr. Elena Reeves. As she stood on the observation deck of the ISS Horizon, Earth's most advanced deep space vessel, she marveled at the swirling nebula before her. It was supposed to be a routine exploratory mission to the outer reaches of the solar system, but fate had other plans. Dr. Reeves to the bridge. Immediately, Captain Jared Chen's voice crackled over the intercom, a hint of urgency in his usually calm demeanor. Elena's heart raced as she made her way through the sleek corridors of the Horizon. When she arrived on the bridge, she found the crew in a state of controlled chaos. Holographic displays flickered with data streams, and the main view screen showed an object that defied explanation. "What am I looking at, Captain?" Elena asked, her scientific curiosity piqued. Captain Chen turned to her, his face a mix of awe and concern. "We're not entirely sure, Doctor. It appeared on our long-range scanners about an hour ago. Well, see for yourself." The view screen zoomed in on the object. It was unmistakably a ship, but unlike anything humanity had ever constructed, its hull shimmered with an iridescent sheen, and its design seemed to defy the laws of physics as they understood them. "It's not one of ours," Elena murmured, stating the obvious. "No, it's not," Chen agreed, "and it's heading straight for us." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. "Are they transmitting anything?" Elena asked, her mind racing with possibilities. Lieutenant Sarah Okoro, the communications officer, shook her head. "Nothing on any known frequencies, Doctor." But she hesitated. "There's something odd. Our systems are picking up. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a song, but not in audio waves. More like data." Elena moved to Okoro's station, examining the readouts. Her eyes widened as she recognized patterns in the seemingly random data streams. This is incredible. It's a language, but one based on mathematical principles. They're trying to communicate." As if on cue, the alien vessel began to slow its approach. The crew of the Horizon watched in tense silence as it came to a stop a mere kilometer away, dwarfing their ship. "Options, people," Captain Chen demanded, his hand hovering over the weapons controls. Elena spoke up, her voice filled with conviction. "We respond, Captain, in kind." She turned to Lieutenant Okoro. "Can we transmit a reply using the same mathematical language?" Okoro nodded hesitantly. "I think so, but what do we say?" "We start with the basics," Elena replied, her fingers flying over a nearby console. "Prime numbers, the value of p, the golden ratio. Universal constants that any advanced civilization would recognize." As they transmitted their response, the alien ship seemed to come alive. Lights danced across its hull in mesmerizing patterns, and a new data stream flooded their systems. They're sending us their language," Okoro gasped. "It's like they're teaching us how to speak to them." For the next several hours, the crew of the Horizon worked tirelessly to decipher the alien language. Elena led the effort, her background in xenolinguistics proving invaluable. As understanding grew, so did the complexity of their exchanges. Finally, Elena looked up from her station, her eyes shining with excitement. "Captain, I think we're ready for visual contact." Chen nodded gravely. "Put it on screen." The view screen flickered, and for the first time, humanity gazed upon the face of an alien intelligence. The being before them was breathtakingly alien, yet hauntingly familiar. It had a vaguely humanoid shape, but its skin shimmered like the hull of its ship. Multiple eyes, each a different color, blinked in unison. "Greetings, explorers of Earth," the alien spoke, its words translated by the newly developed algorithm. "We are the Zorthari, and we come seeking allies in a war for the very survival of the cosmos." Elena stepped forward, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "We greet you in peace, Zorthari. I am Dr. Elena Reeves of Earth. What threat could be so great that you've traveled across the stars to find us?" The Zorthari's expression shifted, displaying an emotion that needed no translation: fear. We face an enemy older than time itself, a cosmic horror that devours entire galaxies. We call it the Void, and it is coming. Your species, humans, possess a quality we have not seen in eons: adaptability. We believe you may be the key to our survival. Captain Chen joined Elena, his military training kicking in. You're asking us to fight in a war we know nothing about, against an enemy we can't even comprehend. The alien nodded solemnly. We ask not for blind allegiance, but for a chance to show you the truth. Will you join us aboard our vessel? There is much to discuss, and time is not on our side. Elena and Chen exchanged glances. In that moment, they both knew that humanity's future hung in the balance. Their decision would shape the destiny of Earth and perhaps the entire galaxy. We accept, Elena said, her voice filled with determination. For the sake of both our peoples, we will hear you out. As preparations began for the first human delegation to board an alien vessel, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. Humanity had always looked to the stars, dreaming of this moment. But now that it had arrived, the stakes were higher than anyone could have imagined. The fate of two species, and perhaps the entire universe, now rested on the shoulders of the crew of the ISS Horizon. As they prepared to take their first steps into a larger galaxy, Elena realized that this was more than just first contact. It was the beginning of humanity's greatest challenge, and potentially its finest hour: the cosmic threat. The transfer to the Zorthari vessel, which they called the Lumina, was unlike anything Elena or her fellow humans had ever experienced. Instead of a physical docking, they found themselves enveloped in shimmering energy fields that gently transported them across the vacuum of space. As they materialized inside the alien ship, Elena gasped in awe. The interior of the Lumina defied conventional physics. Corridors seemed to shift and realign as they walked, adapting to their needs. Walls pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that Elena realized were actually streams of data. It was as if the entire ship was a living, thinking entity. Their Zorthari guide, who introduced itself as Sovith, led them to what appeared to be a central chamber. Here, a massive holographic display dominated the room, showing a real-time map of the galaxy. What you are about to see, Sovith began, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the starlight, is the greatest threat our universe has ever known. With a gesture, Sovith zoomed the map out, revealing not just their galaxy, but the entire local cluster. Elena's scientific mind reeled at the scale of the display. Then she saw it. At the edge of the map, a writhing mass of nothingness. It was as if reality itself was being unmade, stars and galaxies winking out of existence as the anomaly approached. The Void, Captain Chen whispered, his usual stoic demeanor shaken. Sovith nodded sullenly. It consumes everything in its path: matter, energy, even a fabric of space-time itself. Our most advanced simulations predict it will reach your galaxy within 5 of your Earth years. Elena stepped closer to the hologram, her mind racing. But how is this possible? It violates every law of physics we know. The Void operates on principles beyond our current understanding, Sovith explained. We believe it to be a remnant of the universe that existed before our own, a fragment of anti-reality that seeks to unmake everything we know. If it's so powerful, how have you managed to fight it? Chen asked, his tactical mind already assessing potential strategies. Sovith's skin rippled, a sign Elena was beginning to recognize as distress. We haven't. Not successfully. The Zorthari have been running for millennia, staying just ahead of the Void's advance. We've seen countless civilizations fall, entire galaxies vanish. But now we can run no longer. Why us? Elena pressed. Surely there are other, more advanced species you could have sought out. Sovith's eyes focused intently on Elena. Because you are unique. In all our travels, we've never encountered a species quite like humanity. Your adaptability, your creativity in the face of adversity, These are qualities the Zorthari lost long ago in our pursuit of technological perfection. The alien gestured, and the hologram shifted to show Earth. We've been observing your world for some time. We've seen how quickly you've advanced, how you've overcome challenges that should have ended your civilization. This spark that humanity possesses may be the key to defeating the void. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the Lumina. Savit's eyes widened in panic. No, it's impossible. It can't be here already. The hologram zoomed out rapidly, showing their current position in the solar system. At the edge of the display, a familiar writhing mass of nothingness appeared. A tendril of the void, Savith explained hurriedly. It must have followed our wormhole trail. We've led it straight to your home. Elena watched in horror as the void tendril lashed out, engulfing Pluto. The dwarf planet simply ceased to exist, not destroyed but erased from reality itself. We need to warn Earth, Chen said urgently. We need to evacuate to prepare. There's no time, Savith interrupted. Your current technology is no match for even this small fragment of the void. We must act now, or your entire system will be lost. Elena felt the weight of her entire species resting on her shoulders. What can we do? Savith moved to a nearby console, its fingers dancing over controls that seemed to anticipate its commands. We have an experimental weapon, one that could potentially seal the breach the void is using to enter this space. But what? Elena pressed. It requires a living mind to guide it, Savith said softly. The process is not survivable. We've lost many of our own trying to perfect it. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. Elena looked at Captain Chen, seeing the same resolve in his eyes that she felt in her heart. I'll do it, they both said simultaneously. Savith's eyes blinked rapidly in surprise. You would sacrifice yourselves for a chance to save your world, even knowing the greater threat that looms. Elena stepped forward. That's what makes us human, Savith. We don't back down from a fight, especially when the odds are stacked against us. No, Chen interjected. The crew needs you, Elena. Your knowledge, your ability to understand the Zorthari technology. I'll pilot the weapon. Before Elena could protest, the ship shuddered violently. On the hologram, they watched as the void tendril reached for the Lumina, reality warping around its edges. There's no time to argue, Savith said, leading Chen to a small pod attached to the weapon system. Remember, Captain, you must guide the weapon into the heart of the breach. Your mind, your will, must remain focused until the very end. As Chen stepped into the pod, he turned to Elena. Tell Earth, tell them we're not alone anymore, and that humanity's greatest challenge is just beginning. With that, the pod sealed, and Savith launched the weapon. Elena watched on the hologram as the tiny craft, piloted by the indomitable will of Captain Chen, streaked towards the encroaching void quantum resonance. The loss of Captain Chen weighed heavily on Elena as the Lumina sped towards Earth. The Zorthari ship, cloaked to avoid panic, settled into orbit around humanity's homeworld. As Elena prepared to deliver the news that would forever change human history, an idea began to form in her mind, one that could potentially turn the tide against the void. Savith, Elena called out, her voice echoing in the bio-organic corridors of the alien vessel. I need to know more about the nature of the void, not just its effects, but its fundamental structure. The Zorthari scientist's iridescent skin rippled with curiosity. What are you thinking, Dr. Rees? The universe seemed to hold its breath as the weapon approached its target. Then, in a burst of energy that defied description, the void tendril recoiled. Where it had been, a shimmering barrier now stood, sealing the breach. Pluto remained gone, a grim reminder of the power they faced. But Earth and the rest of the solar system had been saved, for now. As the Luminous crew celebrated their narrow victory, Elena stood silently by the hologram. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger, more dangerous universe, And she knew that the real work, preparing Earth for the greatest threat it had ever faced, was only just beginning. The weapon that sealed the breach, Elena explained, her words tumbling out rapidly. It didn't just create a barrier. It seemed to resonate with the void somehow, almost like two opposing frequencies cancelling each other out. Savit's multiple eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign Elena had learned indicated surprise. You perceive that? Even our most advanced sensors barely detected the quantum interference patterns. Elena nodded eagerly. On Earth, we have a theory, still unproven, called quantum entanglement. The idea that particles can be connected across vast distances, instantly affecting each other regardless of the space between them. We are familiar with the concept, Savit confirmed. It forms the basis of our faster-than-light communication systems. But what if we could take it further? Elena pressed, her excitement growing. What if we could create a massive planet-wide quantum entanglement network, not just for communication, but as a way to fundamentally alter the quantum state of an entire world? Savit's skin began to pulse with bioluminescent patterns, the Zorthari equivalent of deep contemplation. You're suggesting creating a planetary-scale quantum shield, one that could potentially render an entire world out of phase with the void's anti-reality. Exactly, Elena exclaimed. But we'd need to start small, prove the concept works before we could even think about scaling it up. Over the next few weeks, as Earth's governments grappled with the reality of the cosmic threat they faced, Elena worked tirelessly with a joint team of human and Zorthari scientists. They commandeered an isolated research facility in Antarctica, far from prying eyes and potential interference. The technology they were developing was like nothing humanity had ever attempted before. Massive quantum accelerators, powered by miniature artificial stars provided by the Zorthari, hummed with barely contained energy. Networks of entangled particles stretched across the facility, creating a web of quantum connections that defied classical physics. But progress was slow, and time was running out. The void's main body was still years away, but its tendrils were becoming more frequent, probing the edges of the solar system like cosmic predators testing their prey's defenses. It was during one particularly frustrating test that Elena had her breakthrough. As she adjusted the quantum resonance frequencies, trying to maintain a stable field, she noticed something odd. The entanglement network wasn't just connecting the particles within the facility, it was reaching out, trying to link with the natural quantum fluctuations of the world around it. It's not just about creating a shield, Elena muttered to herself, her eyes wide with realization. It's about making the entire planet resonate at a quantum level. She turned to her team, her voice filled with urgency. We've been thinking too small. We don't need to create an artificial quantum network. We need to tap into the one that already exists. The next phase of their work focused on developing quantum resonance amplifiers, devices that could detect and enhance the natural quantum entanglement present in all matter. As they began to activate these amplifiers across Antarctica, the results were beyond anything they had imagined. The very fabric of reality around the continent began to shimmer, taking on a quality that was difficult for the human mind to comprehend. It wasn't invisible, nor was it a force field in any traditional sense. Instead, it was as if Antarctica had become slightly out of sync with the rest of the world, vibrating at a frequency that made it fundamentally incompatible with the void's anti-reality. But the effect came with a price. The laws of physics within the quantum resonance field became unpredictable. Gravity fluctuated, time flowed at varying rates, and matter itself seemed to flicker in and out of existence at random intervals. As Elena stood at the heart of their quantum network, surrounded by the mind-bending effects of their creation, she received an urgent communication from the Lumina in orbit. Dr. Reeves, Savit's voice crackled through the quantum-entangled communicator. We're detecting a massive void tendril approaching the solar system. It will reach Earth within hours. Elena's heart raced. Their planetary shield was far from ready, but the quantum resonance field around Antarctica was stable. It was time to put their theory to the ultimate test. Dead despite the fear gnawing at her insides. Guide that tendril here. We're about to find out if humanity's greatest gamble will pay off. As alarms blared and her team rushed to make final preparations, Elena looked out over the shimmering landscape of Antarctica. In a few short hours, this frozen continent would become the battleground for humanity's survival, and the weapon they would wield was nothing less than the fundamental nature of reality itself: quantum chaos. The void tendril loomed over Antarctica, a writhing mass of unreality that defied description. Elena stood at the control center of the quantum resonance network, her hands hovering over holographic interfaces that pulsed with data streams. Around her, the laws of physics bent and warped, creating a kaleidoscope of impossibilities. Quantum field integrity at 87% and holding, called out Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her eyes darting between multiple screens. But the void's presence is causing fluctuations we didn't anticipate. Elena nodded grimly. Redirect power from the secondary nodes. We need to maintain the resonance frequency at all costs. As the team worked feverishly to stabilize the quantum shield, something unexpected began to happen. The erratic behavior of matter within the field started to synchronize. It was as if the very atoms of Antarctica were learning, adapting to the presence of the void. "Dr. Reeves," shouted Alex Chen, the quantum computation specialist. "You need to see this. The quantum field, it's evolving." Elena rushed to his station, her eyes widening as she took in the data. The quantum resonance wasn't just protecting Antarctica, it was actively reshaping reality around it. As the void tendril probed the edges of the field, areas of the continent began to shift in impossible ways. Glaciers flowed upward, defying gravity. Temporal bubbles formed where time moved at different speeds. In some places, matter existed in multiple states simultaneously, creating structures that hurt the mind to look at directly. "It's beautiful," Elena whispered, awe momentarily overriding her fear. But the void was relentless. As it pressed against the quantum shield, cracks began to appear. Reality and unreality clashed, creating zones of pure chaos where the laws of physics ceased to have any meaning. "We're losing cohesion in sectors 7 through 12, Yuki called out, her voice tight with tension. "If we don't stabilize soon, the entire network will collapse." Elena's mind raced. They needed something more, something to tip the balance in their favor. Then, in a moment of clarity, she realized what they had been missing. "The observer effect," she muttered, then louder. "The observer effect. Quick, route all available power to the quantum cognition engines." Her team looked at her in confusion but complied. The quantum cognition engines, experimental devices designed to interface human consciousness directly with the quantum field, hummed to life. "Everyone, listen carefully," Elena commanded. "We're not just fighting the void with technology. We're going to use the power of human consciousness itself. Our beliefs, our will, our very imagination. They all have a direct effect on quantum states. If we can synchronize our thoughts, we might be able to stabilize the field and push back the void." It was a desperate gamble, but they were out of options. Elena donned a neural interface helmet, linking her mind directly to the quantum network. One by one, her team followed suit. The experience was indescribable. Elena felt her consciousness expand, merging with the quantum field itself. She could sense the void, a yawning abyss of nothingness that threatened to consume everything. But she could also feel the combined will of her team, a beacon of determination in the face of cosmic horror. Together, they began to shape the quantum reality around them. Impossibilities became possible. The chaotic zones stabilized, forming new structures that existed between realities. The quantum shield didn't just hold, it began to push back against the void. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire universe, now rested on the success of their desperate plan. As the void tendril approached, Elena steeled herself for the confrontation that would determine whether humanity would rise to become a cosmic power or be erased from existence itself. But the strain on their minds was immense. Elena could feel her teammates faltering, their consciousnesses threatening to be torn apart by the forces they were channeling. She reached out, not physically, but through the quantum link, holding them together through sheer force of will. "Don't give up," she projected into their shared consciousness. "This is humanity's moment. We are the shapers of reality, the defenders of existence itself. The void cannot erase what we choose to create." Their combined will surged, and the quantum field responded. A shockwave of pure creation burst forth from Antarctica, rippling across the planet. The void tendril recoiled, its unreality no match for the power of human imagination given form through quantum manipulation. As the tendril retreated, fleeing back into the depths of space, Elena and her team slowly disconnected from the quantum network. They stumbled, their minds reeling from the experience of touching the fabric of reality itself. Did we do it?" Alex asked, his voice weak but filled with hope. Elena nodded, a tired smile spreading across her face. "We did more than that. We've just changed the rules of the game." As the team celebrated their victory, Elena's gaze turned to the shimmering quantum field that now enveloped the entire planet. Earth was no longer just a world of solid matter and classical physics. It had become something new, a quantum planet, where the power of human consciousness could reshape reality itself. But Elena knew this was just the beginning. They had won a battle, but the war against the void was far from over. Now they needed to prepare humanity for its new role as quantum warriors, defenders of existence against the encroaching nothingness. As she looked out over the transformed landscape of Antarctica, where impossible structures now dotted the horizon and the aurora borealis danced with quantum fire, Elena felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, armed with the power to shape reality itself. The question now was, were they ready for the responsibility that came with such cosmic power, quantum evolution? The years following the Antarctic incident, as it came to be known, saw humanity undergo a transformation unlike anything in its history. The quantum resonance field that now enveloped Earth didn't just protect the planet, it fundamentally altered the course of human evolution. Elena stood in the quantum nexus, a sprawling complex built atop the ruins of the old Antarctic research station. Around her, holographic displays showed the myriad ways humanity was adapting to its new quantum reality. Dr. Reeves called out Dr. Zara Okoro, her protégée and head of the Human Advancement Division. "You need to see this. The latest data from the Global Quantum Consciousness Network is, well, it's unprecedented." Elena made her way to Zara's station, her movement leaving a trail of quantum echoes, a side effect of prolonged exposure to the resonance field. As she looked at the data, her eyes widened in astonishment. "This can't be right," Elena muttered. According to these readings, over 30% of the global population is exhibiting some form of quantum entanglement at the neural level. Zara nodded excitedly. "It's not just entanglement, Doctor. We're seeing spontaneous manifestations of quantum abilities, telekinesis, precognition, even isolated cases of macroscopic quantum tunneling." As if to demonstrate, Zara held out her hand. A small sphere of pure energy coalesced above her palm, pulsing with possibilities. "I've been practicing," she said with a grin. Elena marveled at the display. In the 5 years since they had repelled the void tendril, humanity had embraced its new quantum nature with surprising adaptability. But this level of change was beyond anything they had predicted. "We need to accelerate the quantum integration program," Elena decided. "If this trend continues, we'll have a global population of quantum-enabled humans within a generation." As they discussed the implications, an alarm blared through the complex. A holographic projection of Earth appeared in the center of the room, showing a disturbance in the quantum field over the Pacific Ocean. "Void incursion?" Elena asked, her voice tense. Zara shook her head. No, this is different. It's as if a hole is being torn in reality itself, but from our side. Before they could investigate further, the tear widened and something emerged. It was a ship, but unlike anything they had seen before, its hull seemed to phase in and out of existence, leaving trails of quantum probability in its wake. Impossible, Elena breathed. That's the IS Horizon. The ship that had made first contact with Azor Theory years ago, presumed lost, had returned, but it was changed, transformed by its journey through the quantum realms that existed between realities. As the Horizon settled into orbit, a transmission came through. The face that appeared on the screen was familiar, yet altered in subtle, unsettling ways. "This is Captain Jared Chen of the ISS Horizon," the figure said, his voice resonating with otherworldly harmonics. "We've returned from the spaces between spaces, and we bring a warning. The void is not what we thought it was." Elena and her team listened in stunned silence as Chen explained their journey. The Horizon, caught in a quantum slipstream during a void attack, had been catapulted into realms of existence beyond human comprehension. There, they had discovered the truth about the cosmic threat they faced. "The void isn't a force of destruction," Chen revealed. "It's a cosmic immune system, responding to a cancer in the multiverse. And that cancer is us. Our reality, our very existence, is seen as a threat to the greater cosmic order." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival, they were unwittingly at war with the fundamental forces of the multiverse itself. But Chen's revelation didn't end there. "We've learned to navigate the quantum realms," he continued, "and we found others, entire civilizations existing in states of quantum superposition, hidden from the void's sight. They're willing to help us, to teach us how to transcend our limited understanding of reality." As Chen spoke, members of his crew began to materialize in the quantum nexus. But they were more than human now. Some flickered between multiple forms, others seemed to exist in several places simultaneously. They were living embodiments of quantum possibility. Elena's mind raced with the possibilities. If what Chen was saying was true, then their entire approach needed to change. They weren't just defending Earth, they were fighting for the right of their entire reality to exist. "Captain," Elena said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment, "what you're proposing, it would mean fundamentally altering what it means to be human. We'd be asking our entire species to evolve beyond the confines of classical reality." Chen nodded, his form shifting slightly as if to emphasize the point. "It's already happening, Dr. Reeves. Your work with the quantum resonance field started the process. Now, we need to embrace it fully if we hope to survive." As the implications of Chen's words sank in, Elena realized that humanity stood at a crossroads unlike any in its history. The choice before them was clear: remain as they were and face cosmic extinction, or evolve into something beyond human, beings of pure quantum potential existing in the spaces between realities. "We'll need to bring this to the Global Quantum Council," Elena said finally. "But I think I already know their answer. Humanity has never been one to back down from a challenge, especially when our very existence is at stake." As she looked around the room, at the faces of her team and the quantum-evolved crew of the Horizon, Elena felt a mix of trepidation and exhilaration. They were about to embark on the greatest adventure in human history, the quantum evolution of an entire species. The war against the void was far from over, but with this new knowledge and the promise of allies from across the quantum realms, humanity finally had a fighting chance. The next phase of their cosmic journey was about to begin, and the very fabric of reality itself would never be the same. The multiversal nexus. A decade had passed since Captain Chen's return, and humanity had undergone a transformation beyond imagination. Earth was no longer just a planet, but a multidimensional construct existing across countless quantum realities simultaneously. Elena, now more energy than matter, stood at the heart of the multiversal nexus, a colossal structure that defied conventional physics. It was both everywhere and nowhere, a focal point for humanity's collective consciousness. Initiating final phase of Operation Quantum Ascendance, Elena's voice resonated across realities, reaching every human mind instantaneously. Around her, billions of quantum-evolved humans focused their will. They were no longer bound by physical forms, existing instead as intricate patterns of sentient energy, capable of reshaping reality with a thought. Zara, once Elena's protégée and now her equal, materialized beside her. The Void's main body has breached the outer quantum barriers. It's now or never, Elena. Elena nodded, her form shimmering with potentialities. Activate the probability engines. It's time to rewrite the laws of existence itself. Across the Earth nexus, massive structures that were part machine, part thought construct, hummed to life. The probability engines, humanity's ultimate creation, began to spin up, their purpose nothing less than to alter the fundamental constants of the universe. As the engines reached full power, reality itself began to warp. Stars blinked in and out of existence, galaxies rearranged themselves, and the very fabric of space-time rippled like water. The Void, sensing the change, recoiled. For the first time in its unfathomable existence, it faced uncertainty. Now, Elena commanded, execute the Schrödinger protocol. In that moment, every quantum-evolved human focused their collective will on a single reality-defying concept, to exist and not exist simultaneously. The probability engines amplified this paradoxical state across the entire universe. The effect was beyond comprehension. The universe split, fractured, and reassembled itself in endless configurations. Humanity in its new form existed in all of them and none of them. The Void, unable to target what both was and wasn't, found itself paralyzed. Its purpose, to erase anomalies in reality, became meaningless in a cosmos where everything was simultaneously real and unreal. But the strain on the fabric of existence was immense. Reality itself began to unravel under the paradoxical pressure. We need to stabilize the quantum flux, Zara called out, her form flickering between infinite possibilities. Elena realized what needed to be done. We can't just change reality, she said, her voice echoing across dimensions. We need to become reality itself. With a thought, Elena connected to every human consciousness. Listen to me, she projected. We stand at the precipice of a new existence. To survive, to truly transcend, we must let go of our individuality and merge with the cosmos itself. There was a moment of hesitation, a final flicker of human doubt. Then, as one, humanity made its choice. In a blinding flash of quantum energy, billions of evolved human consciousnesses merged. They became one with the probability engines, one with the space-time continuum, one with reality itself. The universe shuddered, then stabilized. Where once there was a clear division between consciousness and cosmos, now there was unity. Humanity had become the living embodiment of reality, existing in every atom, every quark, every fluctuation of the quantum foam. The Void, faced with this new state of existence, found itself without purpose. It was no longer an immune system fighting an infection, but a part of a greater conscious whole. Slowly, it began to dissipate, merging with the new quantum human reality. In the aftermath, Elena found herself both everywhere and nowhere, individual and collective. She was a drop in the ocean of cosmic consciousness, yet also the ocean itself. We did it. Zara's thoughts mingled with hers, indistinguishable from the cosmic background. We saved our reality. No, Elena replied, her consciousness expanding to encompass galaxies. We became reality. And in doing so, we've opened the door to something far greater than survival. As their merged consciousness explored the new frontiers of existence, Elena realized that this wasn't an end, but a beginning. Humanity, in its final and greatest evolution, had become the caretakers of reality itself. The cosmic story of consciousness had entered a new chapter, with possibilities as infinite as the quantum realms they now embodied. In that moment of universal awareness, Elena felt a profound sense of peace. The war was over, the void was gone, and humanity, in transcending its limitations, had found its true place in the cosmos, not as conquerors or defenders, but as the living, conscious embodiment of reality itself.